on our first annual B&I Banking and Insurance Committee meeting of the 2026 session. I think everybody's here. I'll ask the Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Clemens. Senator Douglas.
Present.
Senator Elkins.
Present.
Senator Howell. Senator Rawlings.
Present.
Senator Smith. Senator Storm. Vice Chair Gardler. Chair Carpenter.
Here. Everybody is here and we're ready to conduct business, so I'll just jump right into it. First, I do want to welcome, we do have a new member, Senator Gary Clemens from our Jefferson County body, so we appreciate you being here, Gary. We want to welcome you to the committee. Everybody make him feel welcomed. That's right. No, I don't know. If he does a bill, we'll have freshman hazing, but until then, we're just going to treat him well. All right, we'll start with Senate Bill 118. Senator Storm, if you want to get started. If you have any guests to bring to the table, I'll allow you to do that. Introduce themselves for the record. I do think you have a committee amendment. I don't know if you want to do that now or after you start your bill. You can do whatever. You tell me how you prefer.
It's up to you, Mr. Chairman. I can explain a little bit of the bill and then make a motion.
That'd be fine.
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, I'm Senator Brandon Storm from the 21st Senate District. We're here today to talk to you about Senate Bill 118. The bill relates to credit property insurance, a product that protects personal property used to secure a loan in the event of a theft, accident, or natural disaster. Kentucky's licensed consumer loan companies have been offering this product for over 20 years. However, it is also filed and approved by the Department of Insurance, but it's not currently listed in Kentucky Revised Statutes. That's the point of Senate Bill 118. Mr. Chairman, I have a committee amendment that I'd like to explain that makes two changes. Number one, it amends Section 2 of the bill to make clear that vehicle protection products, otherwise known as GAP waivers, are not subject to provisions of this bill. And secondly, it amends Section 6 to make it consistent with Section 5 of the bill and existing Kentucky statutes and precedent on credit insurance property filings that they be file and use. I'd move adoption of the committee amendment at this time, Mr. Chairman.
To have a motion on the adoption and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The committee amendment is adopted. Have a motion on the bill and a second. I mean, you didn't even get to introduce your guest. Now, Senator Girdler, I'm going to reserve the right to not let you talk on this one. That's what I'm saying. I'm going to reserve the right to not let you talk about the guest.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Dustin Miller, serving today as capacity of Executive Director of the Kentucky Consumer Finance Association. And my only comments on the bill is the intent of this is to only codify what is going on today. This product, if you were to buy it prior to this bill passing and afterwards, it should work, be regulated exactly the same way. We're just codifying that into the Kentucky Revised Statutes.
Thank you. And you owe me because Senator Girdler, I'm sure, was going to do his typical comment. So have a motion and a second. Are there any other questions from any people on the committee? Ask the Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Chambers Armstrong. Aye. Senator Clemens. Aye. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Elkins.
All right.
Senator Gardler. Aye. Senator Howell.
Explain my vote.
Yes.
I vote aye, and I want to thank the bill sponsor for working with me on some issues with this bill that were needed in the amendment. And I think I wanted to bring this up because it shows what happens when we can actually communicate and work together on things to avoid unintended consequences. Seems like one of the things that we spend the most time fighting up here is not creating a problem while we're trying to fix a problem.
Yeah.
And I just appreciate your help in working through all of that.
Senator Rawlings.
Aye.
Senator Smith. Senator Storm.
Aye.
Chairman Carpenter.
Aye. The bill does pass with favorable expression. We appreciate it. Go ahead.
Mr. Chairman, I would make a motion to roll the amendment into a committee substitute.
Have a motion. Can I have a second? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? It is rolled into a committee substitute. Thank you for doing that. That'll make the process a little easier.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you all. Anything else? Thank you, gentlemen. That's pretty painless. Senate Bill 153, an act relating to the prevention of harmful and fraudulent practices. Senator Elkins, as you make your way to the table, if you have any guests that need to come up with you, we'll bring them up, ask them to introduce themselves for the record. I'll let you introduce yourself, Senator, and then you can do your guest, and we'll do the process here.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I am Senator Greg Elkins, representing the 28th Senate District.
Anne Marie Franklin, Governmental Affairs for Kentucky Farm Bureau Insurance.
Chris Lewis, I'm the Division Chief for Consumer and Senior Protection at the Attorney General's Office.
Dustin Miller, retained legislative agent for State Farm Insurance.
Senator Girdler, you'll have a second chance at this. Mr. Chairman, I do have a Senate committee substitute. Substitute simply codifies current practices in fraud investigation and transactions between the Attorney General's office and the Department of Insurance. And with that, I move adoption of Senate committee sub.
Have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? It is adopted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. For several years, we have heard about the ongoing concerns of the Commonwealth relating to storm chasers, or these fly-by-night contractors, if you will. While the storm activities have most certainly impacted every corner of the Commonwealth, all too often this is followed by unscrupulous contractors. Many of the deceptive practices we see as pertaining to contractors are seen following a weather-related event. Unfortunately, one of the things that we're seeing more and more of is damage to property that may not have been caused by the storm. We've seen a rise in these eager for work contractors broadening the scope of damage created by the storm, or just creating the damage altogether. In these instances, most insurance policies will cover the damage for the insured. However, all too often the repair work isn't being done. This activity impacts all of us. Prices for materials are up, rates are up, and we continue to see more of these devastating storm activities or storm events than we've ever seen. You may have seen in the news recently impact of one of these unscrupulous contractors, a contractor that was operating in many of our districts, including mine. While some of our constituents have true storm-related damage, others were victims of roof vandalism that were caused by the contractor. Either way, a homeowner would sign a contract with the roof contractor. The contractor would take the payment, partial payment, or the entire payment, and not do the work. Then the homeowner is left with the repairs and an unrepaired roof. Thanks to the Attorney General Coleman, those victims now have some hope of restitution. But for now, they are stuck with roof damage without the funds to pay for the repairs. Now the homeowner is faced with the out-of-pocket expense to replace the stolen funds. As you can imagine, some of these people simply just can't afford to pay for that out of their pocket. Also, it is worth noting that in some instances, it has taken as much as 5 years to get these cases from the point of the actual fraud to the Attorney General's office for prosecution or restitution. Most of this is due to the process which insurance fraud is prosecuted. Currently, these cases are reported to the Department of Insurance to be investigated. Following the investigation, the Department of Insurance will then turn the cases over to the county attorney or the Commonwealth attorney. Although we do have great prosecutors, they simply don't have the time, the effort, the funds, or the means to prosecute a lot of these cases. They have much more important cases to prosecute, and they just don't have time for these insurance fraud cases. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was just going to say that to Senator Howell's point before, we did work together with a lot of different agencies. We worked with the Attorney General's office, who's here with us today, worked with several insurance companies who are represented here at the table as well. We worked with the League of Cities, the Association of General Contractors, Home Builders Association, to try to put together a bill that does what we want it to do, but doesn't create unintended consequences. And with that, if you'll allow, I will ask the Attorney General's office to speak just a little more about what the bill does and what our intentions are.
Yeah, you can just keep it brief. We do have a motion on the bill in a second, so you don't have to sell anybody on this bill, but
Fair enough.
it'd be educational.
I always tell my young attorneys the best thing you'll learn as an attorney is when to shut up.
Amen, brother.
So, yeah, I would say what this does is give us some concurrent jurisdiction crimes to really deal with these. We are very often already investigating these on the civil side. So
Could you turn your microphone on? I'm sorry. They've not heard anything.
my apologies.
Yeah.
I think I turned it off by accident.
You're okay.
We are already prosecuting these on the civil side very often within the Consumer Protection Office. This will allow us to attack the criminal side as too, which very often just doesn't happen. It also will help codify a program we've been running for a while that allows us to go in when there is an emergency and require those out-of-state contractors, those people rushing into that area to register and have a little more monitoring than they would in a normal business environment. It was very effective during the tornadoes down in western Kentucky. I will say out of the 10 affected counties, we ran the program in 5. A 6th county had their own program. We registered over 300 contractors. We had over 150 complaints. 40 resulted in investigations. Of those 40, 3 were in counties where the program was operating. The other 37 were in the counties that did not have the program operating. So it serves as a great deterrent. And I actually witnessed that myself, signing somebody up at one of our sites when they came in and saw the list of information they were going to have to turn over, including their driver's license and bank accounts, and he set it down and walked away. And unfortunately probably went to one of the other counties. But I think if we're in a situation where this is codified, we can implement this right off the bat. It also avoids extra stress on the local governments at a time of an emergency, because currently we have to work with them to get them to pass emergency ordinances to allow us to do this. Codifying it will make it a much quicker, cleaner process and allow them to focus on recovery.
Right. One question, where I'm in this business, contracting, building houses and stuff, we see this issue, but it's really for folks that are coming out of state, that are kind of flocking in, as we say, and just trying to take advantage of the storm. And we need people to be here to help expedite the process of getting roofs put on, because if you have let's say 200 houses in a community, there's lots of communities that's not going to have that many roofers that are qualified folks to be able to do these jobs. So we need people here to help, and that's why they come. The problem is they also see low-hanging fruit and opportunities to take advantage of people that may not know the process or what it requires to get a roof fixed or anything else. And so this is to protect those folks. But still, one of my colleagues in one of our meetings, they asked me this question, and I think I answered it, so I just want to clarify. If I'm in a county that doesn't have many folks, but I've got a guy who does the roofs for me, and he's not maybe a big-time contractor, if I call him, this doesn't make him register with this process. If I reach out to him, say, hey, I have a roofing issue, we've had this storm blow off, I've got water coming in my house, I need something done, can you come and take care of it? He still has that ability to come take care of me if he's not soliciting me.
The soliciting and everything else does not apply to that. If you reach out to them directly, then you can go ahead and hire them to come work on your house.
Exactly right, Mr. Chairman. As a homeowner, you can reach out to a roof contractor if you would choose, and this bill does not affect that.
Right.
This is addressed to those door-to-door storm chasers that come in and try to address, some of the fraud that occurs as a part of that.
That's what I wanted to clarify. That's what I told them my answer, and I wanted an attorney to back me up on it. Senator Howell.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I have a question for the most distinguished-looking member of my law school graduating class. Mr. Lewis, on this, one of the things we've gone back and forth on is that our Commonwealth's attorneys just aren't set up to prosecute white-collar crime, basically, in this level. Is the AG's office set up with enough personnel to address these issues throughout the state? How are y'all going to address that internally to make sure that we can deploy the prosecutorial resources that we need to get to do this?
Yeah, as part of our budget request with this bill in mind, part of the AG's general budget request, we've requested an additional paralegal and a prosecutor who will be housed inside the Consumer Protection Office specifically to address the criminal portions of this bill. So I think that'll give us the extra bandwidth, and we'll see how prevalent it is. You hope with something like this it becomes enough of a deterrent that one attorney gets it done.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Senator Storm.
Thank you. I did have one question just to clarify. So the Kentucky Baptist Disaster Relief Program, it operates throughout the Commonwealth, and are you all requiring them to register anytime that they respond to a disaster?
What we'll look to accomplish through regulation is what we did when we ran the program with the locals, and that is for charities, for groups that are coming in to do volunteer work. We have them come in and register with us so that they have the badging and everything that local law enforcement will recognize, but we don't charge them a fee for that. We just make sure that they're identified, we know who they are, that we don't have bad actors coming in posing as charities when they come to us, but then trying to charge people when they get out in the field. So we will work with them. It's not a matter of, having them register as a contractor, but it is a matter if they're going to be operating in that disaster area, making sure that they have something that identifies them. So local law enforcement, as they're going around and trying to catch bad actors, knows that's a volunteer group, that's Baptist or whoever else it happens to be.
Yes, sir.
Sorry, I represent Casey County. There's a lot of Amish in Casey County, and so if those individuals are going out to volunteer to help clean this stuff up, are you requiring the Amish and Mennonites also to register and wear some sort of insignia?
If it's volunteer and they're not charging, then no. But
No insignia?
we would want to get them. Part of the way we enforce this is to work with local law enforcement in the area. We issue placards to the contractors to display in their trucks, so that local law enforcement riding around can see that placard, know that person's registered. If they see someone working on a house who's not, they know to stop and tell them, hey, there's an ordinance or there's a law right now, you need to go register, here's where you do it. So for those individuals that are doing it as a volunteer and everything else, we want them to have those placards so that it saves law enforcement the time of stopping and checking, and it gives them what they need to move ahead. So it would be the same.
I just know there's been some litigation with certain insignia that are required on the Amish, and I want to make sure that you're taking that into consideration if you're going to try to enforce or force them to, display that.
Sure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't think they'd be able to put it on their truck, Senator Hal. They might put it on their buggy, though. I've got some Amish in our area too that does. That's in all rights and seriously.
Yeah.
They do a lot of contracting work.
Absolutely.
We have tons of carpenters in our area that are skilled carpenters that come from Crab Orchard and that area in Casey County that are that do a lot of our carpenter work, and so they do the same type of process there in our community. So thank you for those questions. We did have two attorneys to ask those questions, so I knew that was there. But the real reason they asked the questions is because they are faced just recently with two of the biggest storms that we've had in Western Kentucky in Senator Hal's district, and in London in Senator Storm's district. So this is really makes a difference when your boots on the ground and you saw the devastation and the need of making sure you protect your folks, get them back in their homes, and make sure that they don't get taken advantage of. And on the insurance side, Senator Elkins, we talk about trying to make sure it's affordable, but this is one of the reasons that we're talking about that is because of these fraudulent contractors. People say, well, what does it matter as long as the roof gets fixed? Well, it matters if a roof should cost $12,000 and they charge $42,000. Somebody's paying the bill. And so that bill, that we're all paying that bill because it gets spread across the basis. So we appreciate the legislation. Are there any other questions or comments? Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams, Senator Chambers Armstrong, Senator Clemens, Senator Douglas,
Aye.
Senator Elkins,
Aye.
Senator Gardler,
Aye.
Senator Howell,
Explain my vote, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman.
please.
Yeah, thank you, Senator Elkins, and everybody that worked on this for bringing this bill. General Lewis mentioned there was one county that already had this in place. That was my home county of Fulton County, where the tornadoes of 21 entered Kentucky. J.L. Atwell was way ahead of the game on that, and we didn't have these issues in Fulton County like we had in some of the other places. I've worked with this at the time and since then. And it's one of those things that you have to experience to understand the devastation that comes with a natural disaster like this isn't on the ground, it's in your hearts and in your minds too. And to be able to rebuild your home is so central and core to what you have to do to regain some semblance of your normalcy in your life. And to get to the point where you're ready to finish out your project so you can go back and return to your home and start putting your life together and have one of these vultures come in and screw all of this up and leave you out to dry on that. It would be difficult to deal with in a normal situation, but the people that are in that vulnerable state, it's just inexcusable. And I appreciate General Coleman's office for getting engaged in this and everybody get in to address these issues so maybe we don't have this in the future. I vote aye.
Thanks, Senator.
Senator Rawlings, Senator Smith, Senator Storm,
Aye.
Chairman Carpenter.
Aye. The bill does pass. Do you want to do the roll in the committee sub as well?
Yes,
Senator
please.
Elkins?
Yes.
Oh, it's already a committee sub, so we've already
good.
taken care of that. I'm sorry.
That's
So we'll
fine.
say that this bill does pass as amended. Any other questions?
No, thank you, Mr. Chair, and I want to thank the committee for hearing me out. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. Appreciate you all working on this issue. So Senate Bill 153 does pass, so thank you all very much. Our last bill is Senate Bill 158, an act relating to vehicle financial protection. Senator Howell. if you have any guests with you, Senator Howell, after you introduce yourself, I'll let them introduce themselves. I know we do have some counsel online. If we have major questions that we need to have them answer, they're standing by available. But I think you guys can probably handle it more than likely.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Jason Howell, the #1 Senate District in Kentucky.
Senate District.
My guest here.
Chris Nolan, representing the Guaranteed Asset Protection Alliance. And then online, I have Bill Gunnison, the Legislative and Regulatory Counsel with GAPA, the Guaranteed Asset Protection Alliance.
Thank you, gentlemen. Senator?
Chairman, I'm going to speak candidly on this bill rather than technically on this bill. I think it's much more effective. We reference this as gap insurance, but it's really not gap. It's not insurance. It is a credit protection issue. This is how this issue arises in everyday life. Somebody goes to work every day in their truck, and one morning they hit a deer, and they owe $10,000 or $15,000 on their truck, and it's totaled out at $5,000. So they have to go and replace their truck with a $20,000 truck and roll that $10,000 of extra debt in somehow to their new truck purchase. So now they're driving a $20,000 truck that they owe $30,000 on, which hurts their cash flow in the meantime. But as they go to roll that truck out and replace it with another one, they keep getting farther and farther behind. These products are already in existence to help people in these situations, but they're not regulated. This adds in kind of a consumer protection element to this, to make sure that the people that are offering this product offer a legitimate product, that they are properly funded and bonded and everything to fulfill their obligations. That's the crux of the bill to me. If you have anything to add, Chris, please do.
Thank you, Senator Howell. I think you explained what the primary product is, which is the debt waiver, the gap waiver that's in this bill. These are legal, like the earlier bill today that Senator Storm had. These are legal in Kentucky today. They'll be legal after this bill, should it pass. I actually worked on this legislation 17 years ago with Senator Bob Leeper, as a matter of fact, that put this law into effect that said gap waivers are to be considered under the retail installment contract laws in the KRS. And so what we were doing is basically expanding those laws to put these consumer protections in for people that want to use these products. And these products have also advanced over time. They've modernized. There are a lot more products out there available, trade-in credit agreements, depreciation benefit agreements, diminished value agreements. And as those become more popular, as cars get more expensive and they get more expensive to fix, these types of products for consumers are really becoming more and more prevalent out there. So the bill modernizes and brings Kentucky in line with about 30 other states that have a very similar framework to this.
Right. And, I've working at a bank, you heard gap insurance all your life, and some people may not even know what that is, but it's something that you have to have, and certain people will have to have it, but you don't want them to have it forever. It's kind of an issue that can occur through a trade or a purchase. And as time goes on, you build equity back up in that product to where you don't have to have this. You don't want to have gap insurance on every vehicle you ever have. That'd be called, in Berea, Kentucky, we call that upside down on your financing of your product. And so we don't want to see you do that. We don't want to encourage it. But if it does happen, I know somebody had that same situation happen. Their car caught on fire and burnt. And if they didn't have this insurance to cover them, they would have lost their car, got recovered just a small portion of what their value was, and they wouldn't have been able to go back and buy another car, and they would have still been paying a debt on a car that was no longer drivable. And so that's what this is about. That's what this protection issue is. Is there any other questions or comments? I like the shortened down, simplified version myself, Senator Howell.
All for you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you. Senator Girdler has a motion on the bill. Second. Senator Douglas, ask the Secretary, please call the roll.
Senator Rocky Adams. Senator Chambers Armstrong. Senator Clemens. Senator Douglas.
Aye.
Senator Elkins.
Aye.
Senator Girdler. Senator Howell. Senator Rawlings. Senator Smith. Senator Storm.
Senator Storm.
Chairman Carpenter.
Aye. The bill does pass with favorable expression. And look here, bipartisan support on all three bills. Who says we can't do that up here in Frankfort? So we appreciate everybody being here today.
Thank you.
Does anybody have anything else to go before the committee?